If results don't matter, then what does?
My name is Cornell Ladigan, co-founder of BizVideo. The purpose of this podcast is to take you on a journey of how we use story to grow our business. Thank you for joining me today.
Now, the thing is, as long as I can remember, I've actually loved, sport and fitness and everything else like this. And it started back in year 11. At the time I was in school, I was playing rugby and, athletics and all those kind of things. Wasn't too keen on athletics, but, there were some things that I absolutely loved. And before that in primary school, absolutely loved like cricket and so on. And, as I grew a little bit older and so on, I really started enjoying, the fitness side of things. So in year 11, I actually did some bodybuilding, and then soon after school, when I started university, I started playing a lot of squash, and up to this day, I still play squash. And then I started mountain biking and some road cycling, and then I started doing calisthenics, and it's just crazy. And the thing is, back in the day, I used to do at least two type of sessions a day. So in the morning I might go mountain biking or cycling or even gym, and then in the evening I'll go play squash. Now the thing is, like, I just love doing stuff like that just keeps me fit and alive. But you know how it goes, like when you're in business and if you work and so on, time just becomes less and less, and you actually struggle to keep up with it. Like these days, I can't do twice a day because it's just like it's just a struggle with time. I still play squash like maybe twice a week because I've got like fixtures and competition. So luckily I've got that thing to help me out and force me to go play squash. So being disciplined is super hard. The thing is, I've tried, and it's hard because you're tired and so on. You get home from work and you can't be bothered. So anyway, this is the kind of like little struggle I went through the last this year, right? It's almost the end of the year now, and so even though I've been playing like twice a week squash, sometimes just once, I get frustrated because back in the day I used to do twice a day, and I just absolutely loved it. So anyway, one evening I was watching, just browsing on YouTube as you do and going down the rabbit hole. And I found these guys, it's called the jump rope guys. And what they do is they used to have, they've got awesome stories, by the way, but I've just noticed what the transformation they've had in their own lives, and then all like hundreds and hundreds of people in their lives. And what they tell people, or they help people, start jumping rope and skipping. And because the nice thing about skipping rope and jump rope, it's super cheap. You can do it anywhere, even if it rains. You've got no excuse. You can even just do 5 minutes. So you really don't have any excuses and so on. So I actually told Andre, because Andre is just as busy, and he's always liked sport and everything as well. Like, he's a really keen golfer. He's amazing at squash and all these things, right? But this year has just been a crazy year for our business, an amazing year. Like, I won't take anything back. Like, next year I just want to go even harder. But this year, like, both Andre and I, we just didn't train as much as we normally would. So I told Andre, I'm like, Andre, I'm going to buy some of these jump ropes, because these jump rope guys, they normally suggest you buy these certain type of jump ropes, because like I've been doing skipping and jump rope like for a while now, because I always use it like as a warm up with my squash. And anyway, so I had this one jump rope, but they were showing me these, like on this YouTube channel, they were showing me these exercises they were doing, like different routines and so on, but with different weights. So the one skipping rope might be 1 pound and the other one might be 2 pounds. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to buy some. And I told Andre, hey, Andre, do you want to buy some of these skipping ropes? And I remember at the time, like, we were sitting here in the office. I'm like, Andre, like, I came across these guys, they do this skipping, and it's awesome, like the transformations. And anyway, I could see in his mind as well, like, he's busy with work. He's not even listening really, And I told him, like, you've got to get some of this as well. I'm going to buy these skipping ropes. And he kind of like he's just like, yeah, cool. I'll have a look at it, And that's when I realized, I really need to take people on the entire journey. So at that moment, I've gone through the journey, right? So I've almost become a different person without even training or anything else like that. But mentally, I became a different person. So before I came across jump rope guys to what I was when I was talking to Andre, two completely different people. And it was this person talking to Andre, he was still this person, right? So it made me realize, the best way to do this is through story, right? Because I mean, we've been telling stories, ever since we started this business, probably before that, because everyone tells stories. But we noticed like, hey, you've got to really use story to try and convince people. And so the thing was like, in my mind, again, I assumed that Andre was, with me here. He would understand what I'm trying to say to him here. I'm going to tell him, hey, this is a great opportunity for you to train more because you can do it in 5 minutes and all these kind of things. So this is not the only story that this happened. Now the thing is, I still haven't convinced Andre because I believe, I really stuffed up. I didn't take him through that whole journey and taking him, to move from that person to that person. So this happens daily, because the thing is, I get excited about things, right? I get excited about, maybe some piece of technology, or even with prospects, I might get, excited. I'm like, oh, this will work so good for your business. Like, yeah, you need an overview on the case study and you need some content videos and all these kind of things. And in my mind, I'm like, whoa, this will make such a big difference in this person's business. And but then, if I do get some kickback, or they go, oh, well, yeah, cool, I'll think about it and all these things, it means that I didn't really persuade them well enough. And persuasion isn't about like, hey, you've got to do this, like just trying to motivate people. The best way to persuade people is through story. So what I could have done in that what I'll do in that case, and what I should have done in those cases where people don't really understand me, is really taking through that whole story. So it's about me going back from the new self back to the old self and trying to imagine what that person is like at that stage. So telling a story of like, okay, cool, yeah, so back in the day in business, we struggled with, getting our message out there and telling a clear message, to people. People just didn't understand what we were actually doing, what problems we were solving, what value we were bringing to them, right? And then, years went by, but the thing is, then we started using, story like videos and overview films and case study stories to really help our clients understand that message and so on. And now, as a result, now fast forward a few years, we're actually, signing up a whole lot of clients, we're helping a lot of people, and it's all because of those stories that we created. So, I mean, that is just a really, really quick dumbed down version of a story of how we noticed that, hey, you've got to use story to persuade people versus just going, oh, you need this, trust me, you need this. Like, people just don't do it. And it doesn't matter how excited you get, because that's the thing that really stops me sometimes. And seriously, it happens every single day. Like, that's what selling is all about. Selling is not just about like selling prospects into your business and like getting them as clients, but this is like you're selling team members, right, in your team to believe something that you might believe in, or like even if you want to go to lunch and you go, well, I want to go to Sombrero, and the other person's, you've got to sell that person on that. And if you go home, you've got to sell your wife or your husband or even your kids on something. So it's always about selling, and the best way is to do that through story, and really becoming almost vulnerable in a way to start with, because again, you're at that old person, like, hey, I understand what you're going through, because the thing is, like, I went through the same thing. Now, I remember, like, and really, like, this doesn't just help the person that you're telling the story to, but it really helps you to slow down a little bit and get in line on the same frequency as the person that you're talking to. Because the worst thing is like, if you're on this frequency and that person's on that frequency, like, it doesn't work. But if you become one, I'm trying to show this here, then on the same frequency, it just becomes a lot easier. Now, the same goes for, like, let's say, for example, you've got a software company and so on. You might be so excited because you're like, damn, this is so cool. Like, this code does this and this and this. It solves these problems. But the thing is, you have to understand, like, the person you're talking to or the person that's watching your videos, they're not at that stage just yet. Like, they couldn't care less about some of the features and so on. What they care mostly about is like getting people to, like, they care about whether or not you understand them at that moment. And that is where story can really, really help. And the thing is, like, And again, like they're the old version of themselves at the moment. They haven't become the new version with your product or your solution. Let's say, for example, you've got a software company. They still need to become that new person and have that epiphany themselves about, whoa, I need this software. Because the only person that can really, really sell them on this piece of software is not your salesperson or your BDM or whatever in your company. The only person that can sell them, get them over the line with the software, is the person themselves, because they've got to choose, they've got to decide. So the thing is, if you can get them to decide, which you will have to do anyway, all right, the only other way that you can get them over the line is to really just steal their credit card and plug it in, and then you'll have all sorts of problems. But if you can get them to decide by themselves, we need this, right, then that'll make a massive difference, because then they'll be fully invested. They'll actually you might go through an onboarding process with your software company or whatever. And again, this is just an example. This could be for any business out there, right? They'll be more invested in that onboarding process. So same with our clients. When we sign up our clients, we've got to go through a story development session and all these kind of things up front. This is all time they've got to invest. So if we can't get our clients to have this epiphany themselves, right, that hey, they need this, they won't become so invested, because the one thing is they've got to invest their money, and that's what like salespeople and sales professionals are always about, because they're like, the sign of commitment is money, and yes, that is correct, but then you've got the second level, which is time investment. They've got to invest their time. So again, going back to the software as an example, if you can get them to have the epiphany themselves, become the new person, then they will become fully invested, not just from a money point of view. So, and then the reason why I thought about this is because yesterday we were just screening some drafts yesterday, just internally with our team, with some case studies that we're creating for a couple of clients at the moment. We screened about 4 different videos, and I was just blown away. I was blown away by our growth in how we actually tell stories for our clients. It really just, I was so happy and proud of our team and how we actually evolved with our storytelling, and everyone involved in the team, right? Because like Andre, went out, he produced the videos, like he went and captured it all, and this was over in New Zealand. And then Oliver, he's like our main editor, like he went through the stories, and like I'm just super proud of these guys, like how they've actually created these stories together, and myself as well. Like I'm not trying to blow my trumpet here, but in the story development session, to really go deep and understand what these characters went through themselves, like what was that old person that they were, and now how are they the new person? So the characters within the case studies. And so it was just like this awesome team effort, and it just really, like putting all that stuff aside, when I was watching this, I was like, wow, I could really sense this like vulnerability, and I could really see the old person, right? And then now into the new person, and it's all because of the software that is helping people. Now I'm like, wow, that's so much different to look at the features and the benefits and stuff like that. Now we're like, these are stories, and these stories will motivate so many people, right, to have that epiphany themselves, right? Because in the videos, they might say, yeah, definitely do it. Like if you're this type of business, you have to use the software. They might say it. I might even be wrong, but I can tell you with all honesty, like if you watch these videos, it's literally just telling a story, right? And it's giving future prospects, right, hope that they too can become this new person that they desire. So that's some next level stuff, but I really, it's something that I'm super passionate about this, guys. So if you like this podcast, what I would love for you to do is just press like, hit subscribe on YouTube, give me a comment. And then the other thing as well is, like, if you're listening to this podcast on on audio, make sure you guys subscribe to and review on the platform that you're listening to this. And if you have any ideas and stories, and if you are actually super fascinated like I am about stories and the power of it, and how we can actually have a really positive impact on the world, and also you can have a positive impact on like basically your profit and loss, right? So growing your business and getting more clients and so on, clients that actually appreciate what you do. And that's something else. Like I don't know, I know I want to finish up with this podcast, but when I was watching these videos, you could really see that these people are quality clients for our clients, right? Because these stories are just, it's making it real, and it's creating this relationship. And that's what you want to do at the end of the day. You want to attract, clients and quality clients. And by quality clients, I don't mean clients that will pay you more or anything else like that. People might have these preconceived ideas around like what a quality client means. But in my mind, a quality client is like, they've got a problem that you can solve, and when they come on board, when they have that epiphany themselves, they just become so invested in what you do, and they trust you. And I don't know about you, but for us, the clients that trust us the most, it's just we love working with those type of clients because we're getting awesome results for them. Because we know what we're doing with storytelling. We love what we do with storytelling. It's like our passion. It's something we invest in every single day to get more and more clear on like, hey, what, from a psychological point of view, like how can we tell these stories better and so on for our clients. And then they can keep going on with what they do best. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Have a fantastic day, and I'll chat to you soon.